بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد.
The Great Women's of Islam publishers note, all praises are due to Allah the Almighty, the Lord of all that exists. May Allah's peace and blessing be upon his final prophet and messenger, Muhammad, his family, and his companions. Darussalam is pleased to present this valuable book, Great Women of Islam, who were given the good news of paradise. It was compiled in the Urdu language by a great scholar and a compiler of Islamic books, Mahmood Ahmad Ghadanfar, and translated by our Islamic sister, Jamila Muhammad Qawi. This book is about the life stories of the mothers of the believers and 16 prophets, women companions. They were those pure and virtuous women of Islam. We were honored during the very lifetime of the Prophet with the prediction that they would live forever in paradise in the hereafter. All the mothers of the believers were of very noble character and conduct, and pleased Allah so much that he sent special greeting for, had a brilliant mind, and radiallahu anha, Aisha radiallahu anha, Khadijah, remarkable memory, and had the distinction of being the source of many a hadith because of her long association with the Prophet. Her knowledge of the many branches of religion like tafsir, hadith, fiqh, sharia, her wisdom in interpretation, her mastery of teachings of the Prophet, all these qualities made her one of the most remarkable personalities of the time. And female companions were very active in religion as well as in politics and on business. They were so courageous in the battlefield that their services, like giving medical aid to the soldiers, nursing the wounded, the battlefields, and providing food and water to the wounded and thirsty, can be found in history. They spread the message of Islam, and it is proved by many of the instances that converted many of the disbelievers to Islam. There are many more stories like this that will encourage our Islamic sisters to get more knowledge about such great women. I hope that they will study this book thoroughly and try their best to follow these noble women of Islam. Pray to Allah the Almighty that He grants them all, the writer, translator, and editor, and everyone else who participated by any means, the best reward in this world and in the hereafter for having supported in the completion of such a valuable book. Amin Abdul Malik Mujahid, General Manager Darussalam Exploits and Achievements of the Sahabiyat, Women Companions. Exploits and Achievements of the Sahabiyat, Women Companions. The Sahabiyat, women companions, were the noble women who were the contemporaries of the Prophet Muhammad. They were the pure, virtuous crusaders of Islam, and were honored during the very lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad with the prediction that they would live forever in paradise in the hereafter. Their achievements and influence are found in every sphere of that momentous period in the history of the world when the whole of humanity would be transfigured forever. They were as active in religion as in politics, as courageous in war as in the peaceful and persuasive propagation of the teachings of Islam. These noble, selfless women could be found in the battlefields among the foremost ranks of those taking part in jihad. They were to be found in the political arena, in the field of education, in the courts of Islamic jurisprudence, in the interpretation of Sharia, one in trade and commerce, in agriculture, in medicine, and in nursing. In short, there was no sphere that did not benefit from their intellect, their wisdom, and their gentle yet firm strength of character. Religious achievements. Among the many services that one can render to Islam is to fight in the battlefields. Few, if any, examples of such zeal, determination, perseverance, and courage can be found in history. When the disbelievers attacked the Muslims during the Battle of Uhud, only a few devoted followers were left to fight with the Prophet Muhammad. At this critical stage, the women companion Amara shielded him with her body and warded off the enemy with her sword as well as her bow and arrows. When Khania got within striking distance of the Prophet Muhammad, it was she who bore the brunt of his attack. She had a deep wound on her shoulder, yet she continued to attack him with her sword. But he was well protected, and she could not make a dent in his armor. Against Musaylima Kadhab, she fought so courageously that she suffered a dozen wounds and lost an arm. In the Battle of Ahzab, the Battle of Trench, the companion Safiya displayed brilliant military strategy in handling the Jewish attack and slew one of the Jews. In the Battle of Hunain, Salim set out to attack the enemy with her sword. In the Battle of Yarmouk, Asma bint Abu Bakr, Aban, Hakim, Khawla, Hind, and the mother of believers Juwayriya displayed extraordinary valor. Asma bint Yazid killed 9 enemy soldiers. In the year 28 after Hijrah, Haram took part in the attack on Cyprus. The martyr of the believers, Aisha, Salim, and Salit, were among those who were very proficient at nursing the Elah Anhun wounded. The Sahabiyat usually accompanied the Prophet Muhammad on his military expeditions and took part in battles both on land and at sea. Besides taking an active part in the war, there were many other services that the Sahabiyat performed, like giving medical aid to the soldiers, nursing the wounded on the battlefields, and providing food and water to the wounded and thirsty. Standing side by side with the soldiers, they would hand them arrows, nursing the wounded, and generally help to keep up the morale of the army. They also helped to carry the martyred and the wounded back to Al-Madinah. Atiyah took part in 7 battles and fought during the rule of the caliphs Umar Farooq. The women and even the children helped to bury the dead. They spread the message of the new religion and, through example, converted many of the disbelievers to Islam. It was Fatimah bint Khattab who converted her brother Umar bin Khattab IV. He was to become one of the bravest and most faithful of the companions of the Prophet Muhammad. It was Salim Percent who influenced Abu Talha TT, and it was Hakim who convinced her husband Ikrimah to accept Islam. Sharik Dosia very discreetly worked among the women of the tribe of Quraysh to spread Islam. Another aspect of missionary work is to preserve the religion in its pristine form and protect it from any modifications, impurities, and innovations that may creep in because of cultural or traditional practices already prevalent in society. This very important work of preserving the purity of Islam was performed by many of the Sahabiyat, most prominent among whom was Aisha. In the year 35th after Hijrah, when Caliph Uthman was martyred and there was chaos and confusion over who was next in the line of succession, it was she who brought unity into the ranks by influencing the Muslims of Basra, Iraq, and Makkah. Leading the prayers and calling the Athan, or the call for prayer, is another important aspect of religious life. Although women cannot lead men in prayers, they can do so with assemblies of women. Many women contemporaries of the Prophet Muhammad performed this task as well. Aisha, Salim, Waraqah, and Sa'da bint Qamama were some of the most prominent among these. In fact, Waraqah turned her house into a place of prayer for women. The Athan one was given there by a lady Mu'athin for the women's congregation, and Waraqah performed the duties of the Imam in Layar the prayers. Political achievements. The Sahabiyat, women companions, played a prominent role in politics as well. Caliph Umar so valued Shifa, bint Abdullah, for her political intelligence and insight that he very often consulted with her. He often gave her the responsibility of running the affairs of state relating to trade and commerce. Before the Hijrah, migration of the Prophet Muhammad to Al-Madinah, the disbelievers wanted to lay siege to his house. It was Ruqayya bint Saifi who warned him. The Prophet Muhammad then secretly left for Al-Madinah, leaving Ali asleep in his place. Vast political rights are granted to women in Islam. A woman even has the right to grant shelter to an enemy, if she so wishes. A historian, Abu Dawud, relates that Hani, the sister of Ali, had given refuge to an enemy disbeliever, and the Prophet Muhammad said, "This, if you have guaranteed sanctuary and safety to a person, then we stand by you." Is the law of Islam that the Imwan, or leader, has to stand by the guarantee offered by the woman. Education, knowledge, and the fine arts. There are various subjects, an understanding of which are essential for thorough knowledge of Islam and its tenets. Qira'atu, interpretation and commentary, Sharia, fiqh, study of hadith, all are important aspects of Islamic studies. Many of the women companions were experts in these fields. Aisha memorized the Quran, as did Hafsa, Hind bint Asid, radiallahu anhun, Salma, Waraqa, Radi'a Hisham bin Haritha, Zayda bint Hayyan, Sa'ad bin Sa'ak, all knew portions of the Quran by heart. The latter used to regularly lecture on the Quran. In the sensitive interpretation were radiallahu anhuma, hadith, all were expert, but Aisha and Salma, exceptional masters of interpretation and commentary. With the former, 2,210 ahadith are associated, and 378 with the latter. Aisha was an expert on interpretation and commentary due to her close association with the Prophet Muhammad. Much of the book of tafsir in Sahih Muslim contains narrations from her. Asma bint Abu Bakr, sister of Aisha, Atiyah, Hani, and Fatimah bint Qais, plus also had extensive knowledge of ahadith. In Islamic jurisprudence, or fiqh, Aisha's verdicts could fill several volumes. The same could be said of Salma's recorded verdicts, the invaluable verdicts of Safiya, Hafsa, Habiba, Juwayriyah, Fatimah, the Prophet's daughter, Sharik, Atiyah, Asma bint Abu Bakr, Layla bint Qaif, Khawla bint Tuyait, Darda, Athika bint Zayd, Sahla bint Suhail, Fatimah bint Qais, Zainab bint Jahash, Salma, Ayman, Yusuf plus could fill several volumes. Aisha was also well versed in the law of inheritance, and many renowned and respected companions consulted her on the finer points of the law. Besides being masters of Islamic law and of the finer points of fiqh, the women companions had skill and ability in other branches of knowledge. Asma bint Yazid bin Sakan was an expert in making speech. Asma bint Umayz was famous for her interpretation of dreams. Several companions were noted for their skill in medicine and surgery. Aslamiyah, Mata'a, Kabsha, Hamna bint Jahash, Mu'atha, Ammaima, Ziyad, Rabia bint Muawath, Atiyah, Salima were some of them well known for their skills. Rufaida Aslamiyah's tent, set up as a surgery with all the necessary instruments, was situated close to the Prophet's mosque at Medina. The arts were not neglected by any means. Some of the most noted poetesses were Sa'adi, Safiya, Atika bint Zaid, Hind bint Athatha, Ayman, Kabasha bint Rafi'a, Ummama Maridia, Hind bint Harith, Zainab bint Awam Azdi, Maimuna, a book of verses by Khansa, the best radiallahu anhun, and Ruqayya, known among them, has been published. Industry, trade, and commerce. The women companions also practiced the practical or survival skills as we know them today: agriculture, business, trade and commerce, writing, editing, cottage industries like weaving, manufacture, and designing of clothes. All these are mentioned in the Musnad, collection of ahadith of Imam Ahmad. Agriculture was not so common, but more mainly practiced in the rural, fertile areas around Al-Madinah, especially by the women of the Ansar. Among the immigrants, Muhajir, as they were known, Asmo also practiced farming. The era before the advent of the Prophet was known as the age of illiteracy, but some of these worthy women were highly educated and skilled in the arts of penmanship and calligraphy. Shifa bint Abdullah learned to read and write even during these dark ages and was celebrated for her skill at this art. Hafsa, Kulthum bint Uqba, and Karima bint Miqdad were all literate. Aisha and Salma could not write, but they could read. Both of them were blessed with remarkable memories and inquiring minds, and because of their close association with the Prophet, many of the authentic ahadith originated from them. Some of the sahabiyat also ran businesses. Khadijah was a very successful businesswoman and used to send trading caravans different countries. Khawla, Malika, Thaqafiyah, and used to trade in the oriental oil-based perfumes radiyallahu anhun, Fakhariyah, known as Itar. Sauda operated a leather tanning industry. The daughters of the Ansar would compose verses and poems for festive occasions and sing. According to the hadith narrated by Friya bint Ma'outh, they recited their poems in the presence of the Prophet, who had appreciated their literary skills. Salma used to recite the Quran with tajweed, which was a difficult skill and much appreciated. Thus there was no sphere of activity, social or cultural, that was not influenced and assisted by the presence of these great ladies. May Allah have mercy on their souls. Allah will be pleased with them and they with him. Sath connect with us to their next episodes. Thank you for watching. If it is helpful for you, please give us support with likes, comments and subscribes.